Yo, what is going on, you vengeful Vanillix? Before we get into today's deck, I do want to give a big shout out to channel Fireball. If you guys are looking to pick up cards or, improve your game with CFB Pro, you can do it all over there. Channelfireball.com. Use code AZULGG. Link in the description. Give it a click. All right, today we're playing some games with Togekiss VMAX, Bronzong, and then Zacian is in here because it just combos really well with what you can kind of do, and Zacian is such a good card. Why not, right? Because if it works with the deck, why not play it? So we use Bronzong to move energy off our main attacker Togekiss that uses Max Glide, do 120 damage, search our deck for any 2 cards. We set up Bronzong, we can move the energy off the Togekiss VMAX, and then we can heal it with Cheryl. Now, that is a combo in the deck, but we only play 2 Cheryl, so it's like a possibility, but it doesn't happen that often with the way our opponent plays. They don't actually want to hit into our Togekiss because they know we can Cheryl, so a lot of time they're bossing or escape roping, and ideally you want to set up 2 Togekiss VMAX so they can't escape rope around the active one, but we can't always get that set up. So we don't Cheryl actually that often, but it is an option, and when they do hit into our Togekiss VMAX, it feels really good to go ahead and Cheryl and remove so much damage that they did. So Bronzong moves our energy around, and Max Glide does 120, so if we're up against a VMAX deck, we can hit whatever their active VMAX is for 120, and then Zacian can get the follow-up for the 2-hit KO with the Brave Blade. Or we could Max Glide it 3 times. We also have a Zamazenta in here to wall against VMAXs, and then Assault Tackle does do the 130, so that can also do like a 3-hit KO or set up a 2-hit KO on a VMAX, or even to tag teams as well. Like if we're doing 120, that only 2-hit KOs Pikarom, but we're weak to lightning, so we kind of lose to Pikarom. So Pikarom's not a great matchup. I got a Mew in here to protect against stuff like Cramorant and of course Rapid Strike. There's a Muck in here, and I don't know if this thing is going to be good or bad or whatever, but it has got Nasty Goo Mix GX, which says we have 4 energy cards attached to the Muck. They are poisoned and paralyzed, and they take 15 damage counters in between turns. So this is kind of a comeback card. We can set up energy and play, and then we can go like Stamp to 1, Stamp to 2, Muck, and hope to kind of get stuck, and then we get the knockout coming back into our turn. Either that wins us the game on those last prize cards, or we set it up so that gets knocked out, and then we can KO something else. So big time comeback card here in the Muck. Haven't quite got the value out of it that I've been looking for, but I think it still has potential, so I've kept it around in the list so far. So yes, Wells for the comeback, of course, Researches and Marnie's. The energy count is really nice because it plays Capture Energy, because Togekiss does use 2 colorless energy to attack with the Max Glide, and it's our initial attacker for 2, maybe even 3 turns before we even think about attacking with something like a Zacian. So we play 4 of those and only 7 metal energy. We do play Metal Saucers to have a little bit more acceleration and recover some energy, but yeah, a little bit lighter on the metal energy. The Capture Energy are super nice though, because finding Capture Energy is just kind of an insane card. That's what I want to say. 1 Cape and 1 Big Charm. Big Charm can sometimes be good, like if we're up against Luke Metal, we can put it on our Zacian, and then the other Zacians can't knock him out. Cape of Toughness, we can put on our Zacian against ADP. I've been able to get value of the Big Charm on my Togekiss as well. So both have had their uses. I'm not sold on either of these being in here though, to be honest. They've been good, they've been okay. Nothing too ridiculously strong, but they're all right. And then Boss's Orders, of course, and that is the list. So let's go ahead and let's get into some games. All right, looks like our opponent wants us to go first, and our hand is pretty good for going first. I don't know what they're playing, but I think I'm gonna open the Togekiss V here, because we could always get another and bench that one. Then we have the Intrepid Sword, we have the Capture for the Bronzor. Is a fire deck. I could double blaze this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get another one here. Got the VMAX as well for the next turn, which is really nice. Bronzor and Station. Oh, oops. I shouldn't have done it like that. I messed up. Should have got Togekiss V, which now I do have to go get. Oops. And I don't want to really capture anything else out, so I have messed that up a little bit ahead of myself there. I don't really want to grab anything with this capture. We could get the other Bronzor, actually. That is actually not that bad. And then Intrepid Sword. No draw support, but if I hadn't done that, I could have quick balled for my Crobat. So definitely a mistake. And hopefully our opponent does not get the knockout on my Togekiss here with a double blaze off the rip. That would be bad. Yeah, oops, I should have gone. So I should have done. All right, let's break it down. Should have quick balled once. Should have grabbed the Togekiss V, and then I should have put the capture on it, got a Bronzor, and then Intrepid Sworded. And just don't play the other quick ball. Hold the metal energy. See what we get off that, because if we have to use Crobat, we're gonna want a quick ball in our hand. Because as you can see here. Stumbling over my words. As you can see here, there's no draw supporter in the hand. So usually when we don't have a draw supporter, our go-to option to find draw support is Crobat. because it's a little bit easier to find than a draw stuff, or it gives like more options to find. We can still get the Crobat off the Great Ball, but obviously that's like less likely. So definitely a mistake on my part, and hopefully we don't get too punished for it. Hopefully we can still reasonably play the game here, but we'll see what we draw. Another thing that could happen is if I had the energy in hand, this Great Ball could get me another Togekiss VMAX, which means I could go VMAX Retreat. So it does have free retreat, and then I could just attach here with that Metal Energy that would have been in my hand and attack for the turn. But that is also not a possibility because of the current situation that I put myself in, but I did to myself, so can't really blame anyone but myself on this one. It's just my own fault. There's the Volcanion, see the Flare Starter, so we could possibly get some value out of the Big Charm this game for sure, because it would protect our VMAX from getting knocked out by the Centiskorch with the 7 energy, I want to say is what it would be. Yeah, from having a 7 energy Centiskorch. So they would need like an 8 energy Centiskorch to get a 1-hit KO on the Togekiss VMAX. And the Cape of Toughness could be good on Zamazenta as well, stopping stuff like Heatran with the Steam and Stomp. I mean, Double Blaze from a Charizard would still be a knockout, but the Centiskorch VMAXs couldn't hit it, which is pretty good. They would need like an extra energy, I guess, as well, but that's not really that hard for them to get, but could be a difference maker. So Zamazenta with the Cape of Toughness could be good as well. We'll see. All right, let's see what this top deck gives us. There's a lot of outs, but who knows if we're going to draw into any of them. Okay, start with the Great Ball. Another Bronzong isn't bad. Another Great Ball. Togekiss V isn't bad as well, but once again, my own bad for making the mistakes that I made. I don't want to VMAX the active, but I don't want to give them prize cards either. Let's go with the VMAX on the active. And then Intrepid Sword, Stamp, Research, Zamazenta. Okay. Got some stuff to work with. Even if they get a hit on my VMAX, we will be chugging along next turn. I don't like losing the Stamp here. I mean, if they take some prize cards, though, maybe if they go Chase My Zation or something, then we can stamp them down to like 4 and get our first swing off and kind of start going from there. Gonna be a little ways for us to go. But yeah, we can go with that. And the deck only does only play 2 Zacian, which means gotta be careful with them because they're pretty important to get big knockouts on stuff like Centiskorch. They attach active, they're going with the boss, so yeah, they still get the Calmization, but they get to use the Volcanion, which is a little bit worse. I might go ahead and throw this Zamazenta down. I'm not like too sure if I want to put like a free 2 prizes in play like that, but we will get to use the Stamp, reduce that hand size a little bit, take away at that. Definitely want to bench the Muck. Zamazenta, I'm actually not really sure, to be honest. It's okay to bench, I think, but how good would it really be to bench? Not that good, I don't think. Especially when I maybe want to get a Zacian in play. Could be good, though. Could be good. All right, let's go with it. Why not? Have all the options. We still have the Zacian for later after they draw a prize card. Got an energy. Got a VMAX. So we're attacking, which is the important part. And Cape of Toughness has to go on a non-GX basic. I could just put it on the Zamazenta right now. Seems fine. Max Glide. So they might have another boss, they might not, and that's why it's really hard to decide here if I want to take a Cheryl or not. And that's why it gets actually tough to like decide these things. Is I guess we could kind of go with just like, and I want the reset stamp as well. If they do take a knockout, I'd want a reset stamp. But if I take Cheryl, I need energy. So Cheryl actually doesn't. I'd have to go like, if they hit my active, I need Cheryl plus an energy. But if they go for the, oh my gosh, this is where it gets really tough to pick because we don't have any of the options in the hand, which is like the worst part. We don't have an option in the hand. Could go for Swell and get Swell right now. Could get energy off the Research theoretically. Go for Swell plus Big Charm, I guess, and just those things are things we can guaranteed use. And if they hit my active, I can run to the other Togekiss VMAX. And if they want to chase it again, then they would go down to 1 prize card, which means I can have the Stamp for the next turn and then go from there. There's a Cheryl off the prize card, so that could help out if we top deck. We also have Crobat. But I guess they're not taking a knockout if they hit my active. But if we top deck an Energy or a Metal Saucer, then we can Cheryl and then repeat the same thing we just did. But if not, then we can go with like a Big Charm somewhere where it's going to be most effective. Swell in play to stop the Hearth usage would be great as well. And then we can just Research, find some more stuff to attack with. But that wouldn't put us in that bad of a spot, to be honest. So that would be fine. And we'll have to wait and see. Do they have the boss play? And do they go for it? Or are they going to settle for Burning Train my active? That is probably like that's just really good for us. But I top deck my reset stamp, not energy. That is so bad. Well, I don't know what to do here now. Well, big charm here, I think, is going to be best. And then I might just max glide 120 with this one. Let them get the prize card to stamp them to 1. What about that? What about that? That doesn't seem like the worst thing ever. We're going to need some energy here, though. So max glide. Going to go ahead and hit for 120. Awkward draw. Maybe I could have always grabbed energy just in case I got the Cheryl off the prize cards. I could have done it like that, to be honest. Let's go for the capture energy because I probably want to capture out the Zacian, actually. Or at least have the option to. Okay, so we're going to give them these prize cards, but that's just so we can stamp them to 1. We got the Swell in place, so it's going to be harder for them to find energy. They're down 2 Dedennes and a Crobat. We still need to draw 5 prize cards, though. So we still got a lot of work to do ahead of us. And I could have held off on the Swell that turn, but I didn't want them to get like that much more energy in play that turn. So they could have the bump this turn like they did with that, and now they can put down a Hearth on the following turn, of course. But I didn't want them to like Welder for 2 attached to this thing through using a Hearth. And now when I stamp them, they still won't have a Hearth in play. They'll still have to find it off that stamp to 1. So I still think that sets us up in a pretty good spot overall. There's the Burning Train. Okay. Send up the Togi here. And we are going to stamp to 1. This is the big thing we're going to do. We're going to hold the rest of the hand, I think, as well. We're not going to... We could research, actually. We could research this hand. I kind of like the idea of the Cheryl in the hand, though. Now I'm not going to capture. I could do that later. Up to the Togi. And done with that. And then just go... Ooh, stamp. Yeah, I'm going to hold the hand. It's got the Cheryl option. Got an energy for turn. Max glide. I think what we want here... is boss. Well, we want boss. We can capture out the Zacian. So we need... Do I have a metal in my discard pile, actually? We do. So we can get a Zacian and a metal saucer. No, not Zacian. We can get boss and a metal saucer. So we can potentially chase this down next turn with Zacian. So we can capture out the Zacian, metal saucer for the 3rd metal in play, retreat to the Zacian, and take the knockout. We also have some other options. We got the Samus sent out. We have the Muck Muck as well, which is something we can go for. If we want to do that. And we could use Muck Muck on something like this Crobat. Trap it in the active for a turn. And then next turn, we could get the switch into Zacian KO to Dedenne or the Centiskorch. So we'll wait and see what our opponent does. Here comes a Fire Crystal. So that's the energy. So the Hearth, them not having Hearth, it seems like it's not mattering here. And we just don't know what the last 3 cards in the hand are. Okay, so we could go for the Zacian knockout, which seems pretty safe. But I could lose... there's definitely some things I could lose too. Could go for the Muck Muck, but they have plenty of switch left, is what I'm scared of. Huh. It wouldn't need to draw very well to KO the Zacian. Let's go for it. Let's go for the Zacian play and just kind of see how it goes. Over to the Zacian, we need to do a little bit less. Then we have the switch to reset the Zacian and close out the game. They need a lot. They do need a lot. See if we can make this comeback happen here. Yeah, they do need a lot. They do need a lot. So we'll see. We'll see. Get this knockout on the Centiskorch. Got 1 prize card left. My opponent has 2 fire energy and a random card in the hand with a Dedenne and a Crobat in play. And that's it. That's all they have. Can they come back and get a win? The biggest thing for me is going to be, can they find the fire energy? They're down 2 Hearth. The fire crystal's gone. So even if they go like Dedenne here or something like that, if they even play a 3rd Dedenne, which they probably don't. So maybe they have a 2nd Crobat. They use that dark asset. But maybe they don't even have that because they are playing Scoop Up Nets, which means they're probably playing the Jirachi build, which means they're probably not. And hey, it looks like we've done it. What an insane comeback this first game was. And reset our Zacian and Brave Blade for the knockout. Pretty cool dub in the first one. I was hoping to use Muck Muck. It didn't come around, but that's not bad. And let's go ahead and let's get into another one. All right, here we go again. We did win the coin flip, but actually this deck I'm kind of torn on going first or second. Let's go first. Let's try it out because really all we need is Togekiss plus energy to get into a VMAX on the next turn. This opening hand's pretty good. I am very torn on first or second with this deck. No energy is of course not great, but hopefully we draw into something that's not bad. So we can go Bronzor, Quick Ball, the Cape. We don't know what we're up against, and I might regret that, but I think that's the best thing to give up immediately. And then I'm thinking about giving up the Metal Saucer over the Pal Pad because we don't need that much energy acceleration, especially if we hit like a energy or two off an Intrepid Sword. And then I do want a Crobat here because I do want an energy for my Togekiss V. So make it easier so I can get into the VMAX on the following turn. So that is such a big deal. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Metal Saucer discard there, to be honest. Seems fine. Could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I really like the Pal Pad to recover the boss's orders at the end of the game, or Cheryl, or even sometimes Marnie. Getting more Marnies back isn't terrible. But the Metal Saucer, of course, it's just such a good card. And our deck works really well with it. Looks like we're up against some kind of fire deck from our opponent. Let's see which one it is. There's so many that it could be. That's not going to tell us anything, but maybe once they use it, that'll give us a little bit more. There's Centiskorch, Victini VMAX, Welder Mew 3, Tempozard. There's probably more. I mean, we can go as far as like the Charizard evolution decks that are out there as well, that you don't see quite as much, but are still technically decks. There's a Fion Grab. That's fine though. If they use it, then I get to send up Crobat. Oh, but they get the Double Blaze, so they do get to Double Blaze my Crobat, but it does mean that I'll get to send up this, and I get to keep my Mew around. If they play Cramorant, I get to keep Mew around, which means it'll protect my bench later on, which is pretty good. That's pretty good value. Pretty cool to keep the Mew around. There's a Fail on the Stellarwish. Using it before, they wanted to use the switch card. I always like, they play Ordinary Rod as well. I personally, well, they had a Welder as well. They shouldn't have the Fire Energy. Okay, so that's why they Stellarwish first, because they could get a Heart there. Makes sense. And all right, pass. Now I can't take full advantage of this scenario, I don't think. Bronzong, which is really good. So again, we're gonna get the Bronzor. I don't know, what am I looking for here? I want another Togekiss V, I guess. What am I doing? Yeah, Togekiss V, pretty cool. Bronzong. Evolve this, attach. I could just Intrepid Sword again, to be honest. I don't have to do anything, but I don't want Mew in my active, to be honest, as well. So we could retreat to my Togekiss and then Intrepid Sword. I don't really want to give them a free prize card. Also, it looks like they are playing Tempozard. So with the retreat, we have the Cheryl. I don't want a Marnie because they didn't do anything last turn. And then yeah, Intrepid Sword. Hitting energy, which will be good for later. I could just keep this in the hand though, so that way they don't. I guess they can't really boss KO. So may as well hit it, put it on a Pokemon, because if I top deck an energy, then that's my energy for turn. Move this energy off. Cheryl, move it back, attack. They can also Fion us, and if they do Fion us, I will just give it my Crobat. It's not a big deal at all. They can have the Crobat. This is why we want 2 VMAXs in play as soon as possible, and we will have the second VMAX out soon to play around the shenanigans that are Escape Rope or Fion or stuff like that in general. We don't want that kind of stuff to be happening, so we got to try and put a stop to it as aggressively as possible. Second to Dene down, which is going to be, oh my gosh, and 3 Fire Crystal. Okay, if we can get through this Reshizard, they're done. We win. That's our goal here. Get through this Reshizard. 3 Fire Crystal down now, and a Welder. There's a Hearth finally for them, so they can find some fire energy. But this Reshizard is basically the only thing that we need to worry about right now. We just have to make sure we can make the plays happen, and this should be a pretty clean dub, to be honest. So boss is what I want to be playing around from here on out. Don't let them pick their targets. So we're gonna like bench the Bronzor next turn, so they can't just chase my Bronzong. They whiffed. That's huge. Once again, we're gonna get the knockout on the Jirachi. Switch. I'm gonna put the energy somewhere a little bit safer, just in case a boss. Just put it over here on the Togekiss VMAX. It's like the safest place for my energy. I could play Marnie, but I got the Cheryl in hand, and my opponent didn't do anything last turn, so I'm just gonna swing. And there's the concede. They've given up. We got the attack, and they can't handle it. And it's gonna be a short video today, guys, and that's gonna do it for these games with the Togekiss VMAX deck. I hope you enjoyed them. Give the video a like if you did, and I'll see you tomorrow.